Hey, this is C&D Channel. I'm Chris. This is MMA for you. I'm going to be doing my predictions for Bellator 135, Warren versus Galvao 2, which happens on March 27th. Overall, not the greatest card. I'm not going to lie. There aren't many fights here that look like they'll be action fights. If anything, there's a lot of grinders on this card. On the main card, Warren's a notorious grinder. Francis Carmont has shown to be something of a grinder. Dakota Cochrane, I mean, he's fun, but I'd even go so far as to say he's something more of a wrestler. And Couture is mainly a grappler. It's not the worst thing, but some LC Davis, wrestler, Tokoro, grappler as well. And the prelims, I mean, no one here stands out to me big time. Very interesting that a majority of the fighters on the prelims actually fight out of Octagon MMA. Other guys that train out of Octagon MMA would be like Sean Spencer, Matt Hobart, and Damon Jackson. Like a good majority of the guys on the prelims train out of there. Not gonna lie, I have not watched any videos of the guys on the prelims, so I've watched videos of I've watched all the main card guys, but as far as the prelim guys go, they're just gonna be pick'em, total pick'em type picks. So just heads up right there. So let's get started. Okay, for the Bellator bantamweight title, Joe Warren rematches against Marcos Galvao. Joe Warren, 12-3 record, 3 wins by KO or TKO, 1 win by sub. He also has 2 losses by KO or TKO. He's 38 years old on a 5-fight win streak, most recently beating Eduardo Dudu Dantas to unify the Bellator bantamweight title. So he is a current Bellator bantamweight champion. He's also a former Bellator featherweight champion. He's also defeated Galvao by unanimous decision back on April 2011. Extremely contentious decision there. Many call that one an outright robbery. I actually kind of have to agree. I don't see how Warren beat Galvao when they fought that first time. With that said, Joe Warren is an Olympic-level Greco-Roman wrestler. He has a really strong clinch takedown game. Super resilient. He's a guy that just keeps coming at you. He's relentless about getting those takedowns. He has good top control. His striking's decent. He actually has some pop in his strikes, but his stand-up defense is terrible. That guy gets hit clean and gets hit clean hard and a lot. On a technical level, his striking isn't that great. Like I said, he does have some pop in his strikes. Marcos Galvao, 16-6 record with 1 draw, 4 wins by KO or TKO, 12 wins by decision. That's his 3 losses by KO or TKO. 33 years old on a 3-fight win streak. He is a Brazilian Jiu-Jitsu black belt. His striking's a bit reckless. I mean, he throws a lot of haymakers, but he has strong takedown defense. I hate picking Joe Warren fights. I really do. I mean, it's just, I get some of them right. Alexis Villa, Pat Curran, and then I pick against him more than I pick for him. One of my things is I always look at skill set, and the fact of the matter is, like, Joe Warren's skill set, it's good for judging, for MMA judging. It is really good, but as far as like an ability to finish opponents, an ability for him to not get hit, it's not that good. He's actually pretty largely one-dimensional. What's the Dantas fight? I mean, yeah, he gets some ground and pound in there, but it's mainly him just relentlessly going for the takedowns. And even if he fails, he will keep going for it. So I hate picking Joe Warren fights because he's the type of guy that just on aggression alone and always being the guy that's going forward, pinning guys against the cage, pinning guys on the ground, You know, he'll hit some ground and pound, and he'll have what I call stay busy ground and pound. But, you know, he has a style of fighting that judges tend to favor. You can see it in the Patricio Pitbull fight. I thought Pitbull won that fight. Warren just has that style that can influence judges. It's like, I guess, that made for MMA judging style of fighting. That's why I hate picking Joe Warren fights, because, like, stylistically and the skill set wise, most good and, like, especially above average fighters can outstrike the guy. They can defend a good amount of his takedowns. Once he gets you down, he's good at keeping his opponent down. So like I said, like, honestly, I think Marcus Galvao is the better fighter. I think he can defend his takedowns, beat him up on the feet. You know, Galvao's not the best striker himself. I still think it's a little better than Warren. I think Galvao won their first fight. So, I'm going to go Marcus Galvao here, just in the sense that, one, I think he won their first fight. Two, I think he can defend takedowns. If taken down, can defend takedowns. And I think he can actually do pretty well on the feet against Warren, all things considered, despite that Marcus Galvao doesn't have the most technical stand-up. But like I said, Warren just has that style of fighting that, like, favors judging. Not super confident in this pick. Going with Marcus Galvao. I always have a very mixed results with Joe Warren. Like I said, I picked him correct a couple times to win. I picked him correctly to lose a couple times. But he's one of those guys where, like I said, he has that style fighting. Even the Dantas fight, I know a lot of people actually found that a bit contentious. But he just has that style fighting. Judges like it. It nullifies offense from his opponent a lot of times. You know, it's... The guy's got a heart. You know, Joe Warren's got heart. He's tough as nails. He's not the most technical fighter. He's not the most defensively sound fighter. But he's gritty. He will... Even if he fails... You know, some guys, they fail takedowns and just kind of like wilt. You know, go for really sloppy takedowns and whatnot. Joe Warren will keep working at it and keep working at it until he gets it. However, I just don't think that's enough to beat Galvao, who should be able to defend the takedowns. Even if he gets to the ground, hopefully Galvao will just get back to his feet if he's taken down. And I hope Galvao can just outstrike Warren. Marcus Galvao for the win here. And like I said too, I thought he won their first fight. Next fight is that Francis Carmont makes his Bellator and 205 debut against Guilherme Viana. Guilherme Viana, 6-1 record, 4 wins by KO or TKO, 2 wins by sub. He's pretty tall for a weight class. He's 6'4". Francis Carmont, though, pretty tall, 6'3". Viana's on a 3-fight win streak. He is a finisher. I saw 2 fights of his against Ricardo Silva and against this guy named Julio Cesar or something or other like that. What I saw from him, his boxing is actually not too bad. He uses a jab pretty well. Kind of a headhunter though. Not the best defensively in the stand-up. In his last fight, he showed a pretty decent clinch takedown game. His ground and pound didn't look too bad either. Francis Carmont, 22-10 record, 6 wins by KO or TKO, 10 wins by sub. Has his 2 losses by KO or TKO and 3 losses by submission. 33 years old, he's 6'3", 3-fight losing streak. Losses to the likes of CB Dalloway, Talis Lates, and who's the other guy he lost to? Besides Lorenz Larkin, you know, I totally don't think he should have got the win over Larkin. He beat Philippi though. Jeez. Yeah, you know, I forgot who's the other guy. He beat Carmont in that 3-fight losing streak. Well, Kendi, Rocco, Musasi, Jacare. It was Jacare. Okay, yeah. It was Jacare, then CB Dalloway, and then Talaslates knocked him out. He trains at a TriStar. He is moving up to 205, which actually I think is a good move for him. He was big for middleweight, but he's not good. I don't think he didn't look like a guy that would be undersized for light heavyweight. He's a good wrestler with good top control. He can be something of a grinder in the UFC. Stand-up's actually not too bad. Here's the thing with Carmont. In the UFC, that's a pretty tough. Those are 3 tough guys to fight. Actually, he's fought like relatively tough guys. Like Constance Philip, he's actually a pretty tough guy himself. But to fight Jacare, to fight Dalloway and Lates, you know, to lose to those guys is very much acceptable. Like those are 3 very good fighters. They're all top 10 guys now, right? CB's like number 10 now. Lates is up there. Yeah. Or at least Dalloway's at least like top 15. He might be a guy that might actually look better outside the UFC just because he's not fighting as high level of competition. Doesn't have to grind as much. We'll be able to find a little more openings against some of these guys. So I'm gonna go with Francis Carmont here. I think I haven't seen Viana's takedown defense. You know, Francis Carmont, serviceable wrestler, good top control. At the very least, he can win a boring, grinding decision. I mean, I might want to avoid a stand-up against Viana. Like I said, Viana's not a bad boxer. Kind of, he doesn't have a lot to his game, though. You know, jab, a lot of jab cross, a lot of jab right hand and whatnot. I mean, I saw a left hook in there and an uppercut and whatnot, but a couple of knees. But for the most part, a lot of his boxing consists of 1-2s. But yeah, nonetheless, I think at the very least, Carmont probably has more ways to win. So Francis Carmont for the win there. Next fight after that, Ryan Couture fights Dakota Cochrane. Dakota Cochrane, 18-7 record, 5 wins by KO TKO, 7 wins by sub. Has those 5 losses by submission. He's 28 years old. Trains out of Premier Combat Center with the likes of Joe Ellenberger. He's a good wrestler, solid stand-up. Interesting enough with Cochrane. I mean, this is a guy that will lose to Christos Giagos, beat Jamie Varner. Didn't he beat like Escudero or something like that? Like, he actually beats good guys outside of the UFC, but he's just never able to make it into the UFC. You know, he beats some former UFC guys that are like solid enough, but then he'll like always lose that one fight that will probably get him to call up to the UFC. Ryan Couture, 9-3 record, 1 win by TKO, 5 wins by sub, 32 years old on a 3-fight win streak, training out of Extreme Couture. He's not like his father, you know. He's more of a, his Brazilian Jiu-Jitsu's good, his stand-ups is decent. With that said, I'm going to go Dakota Cochrane to win this one. I think he's probably arguably the better athlete, better wrestler. I'd actually say he has better stand-up at this point as well. Cochrane has a good front kick, or like a teep kick, you know, decent stand-up. Ryan Couture is someone that like, he has a tendency to surprise me, but he'll beat like solid, you know, like lower tier guys that are like good at best, you know. Cochrane at least has beaten a couple more what I'd call like UFC caliber competition. I think he might actually, besides maybe Brazilian Jiu-Jitsu, if like Couture takes his back or something, I think Cochrane actually beats him everywhere. I think he's a better wrestler. I think he has a better stand-up as well. So Dakota Cochrane for the win there. Okay, and the final fight of the main card of LC Davis versus Hideo Tokoro. Tokoro, 32 and 27 record with 2 draws, 5 wins by KO or TKO, 18 wins by sub. He also has 12 losses by KO or TKO and 5 losses by submission. 37 years old on a 2-fight losing streak. He's only won 2 of his last 6. He is a good wrestler, and his Brazilian Jiu-Jitsu skills are solid as well. LC Davis, 22 and 6 record, 8 wins by KO or TKO, 7 wins by sub. He also has 2 losses by submission, 34 years old on a 2-fight win streak. Also a good wrestler, but he has solid stand-up skills as well. Not spectacular, but he's good, you know, in the stand-up. I kind of like what I see out of LC Davis as a bantamweight. I think he's in a good weight class. You know, he won his last fight primarily with wrestling. Like I said, his stand-up's not too bad. It's not great, but I think it's better than Tokoro's. Tokoro, I mean, I don't know if he'll be able to get the takedown on Davis, with Davis being a good wrestler himself. So I'm going to go with LC Davis for the win here. Could be something of a grinder, though. On the prelims, like I said, I didn't watch any of these guys. This is stuff. All these fights are going to be pick'em fights. Okay? Just heads up. Going by records here, not by video. Didn't have time to really watch much video of these guys. Don't see anyone here that like I really want to see anyways. I don't know if there's any like great prospects here, but maybe someone here will surprise me. So we have Rashad Orlando Coulter versus Jeremiah O'Neal. Jeremiah O'Neal has a 13 and 24 record, so losing record against a guy with a winning record. 2 wins by KO or TKO, 11 wins by sub. He also has 4 losses by KO or TKO, and 13 losses by submission. He's 37 years old on a 4-fight losing streak. Coulter, 4-1 record, all 4 wins by KO or TKO. His 1 submission loss. He trains out of Octagon MMA. Like I said before, Sean Spencer, Matt Hobar, and Damon Jackson all train out of there. He is a finisher. He's never been to decision. I'll go with Orlando Coulter for the win there. Next fight after that, Sean Holden fights Tim Roman. Tim Roman has a 2-1 record. 1 win by submission, 1 win by decision. 29 years old on a 2-fight win streak. Holden, 2-1 record, 2 wins by decision. He's 30 years old. Trains out of Octagon MMA. I don't know what the difference maker is. I'll go with the guy who trains out of Octagon MMA. I'm going to favor the Octagon MMA guys, because at least I do know that there are UFC caliber talent in there. So Sean Holden for the win. Next fight after that, Logan Neal fights Neal Ewing. Neal Ewing, 5-0 undefeated record, 2 wins by KO or TKO, 3 wins by sub. He's 29 years old, trains out of Octagon MMA. He's a finisher. With Neal, he only has 1 pro MMA bout, which he won by TKO. He's 25 years old. He's pretty tall, though, 6'3". Nonetheless, I'll go with the guy with more experience, who trains out of Octagon MMA, Neal Ewing. Next fight after that, Emmanuel Sanchez fights Alejandro Villalobos. Villalobos, 17 and 3 record. 9 wins by KO or TKO, 7 wins by sub, 36 years old on a 7-fight win streak. Emmanuel Sanchez, 9-1 record, 1 win by KO, 5 wins by sub, 24 years old on a 5-fight win streak, training out of Rufus Sports with the likes of the Pettis brothers, CM Punk, Banaszak, among others. Tough one for me to call. I'm going to go with age here, the 24-year-old over the 36-year-old. So I'll go with Emmanuel Sanchez. Actually, you know, these two guys are a little more experienced. I probably should have watched some footage of these guys. They seemed a bit more experienced. I think I've actually seen Emmanuel Sanchez before. I think he's fought in Bellator before. I'm not too sure. Nonetheless, Emmanuel Sanchez for the win there. Next fight that, Steven Banaszak fights Brad Mitchell. Banaszak, 3-4 records. He has a losing record. 1 win by KO, 2 wins by sub. All 4 of his losses are by submission. He's 24 years old on a 2-fight losing streak. He is a finisher. He's never been past the 2nd round. Brad Mitchell, 4-1 record with 1 no contest, 1 win by TKO, 3 wins by decision. He's 40 years old on a 2-fight win streak. He trains out of Octagon MMA. This is hard for me to call, actually, because Banaszak has a losing record. He's on a losing streak, but he is a younger fighter. Brad Mitchell, much older, 40 years old, trains out of Octagon MMA, but he does have the winning record. I don't know. Brad Mitchell for the win there. Like I said, they're all pick'em fights for me. So right after that, Klayton Mai fights Xavier Siller. 5-3 record, 2 wins by KO or TKO, 2 wins by sub. He also has 2 losses by KO or TKO. Only 20 years old, but he's on a 2-fight losing streak. Klayton Mai, 6-1 record, 1 win by TKO, 5 wins by sub. He has 1 loss by submission. 28 years old. He's never been past the 2nd round. He is a finisher. Also trains out of Octagon MMA. I'll go with the guy who's not on the losing streak, Klayton Mai, for the win there. And finally, JP Cole fights George Pacurariu. Pacurariu, 8-4 record, 2 wins by KO TKO, 4 wins by sub. Also has 2 losses by KO TKO, 30 years old, trains out of Octagon MMA. JP Cole, 2-2 record, 1 win by KO, 1 win by sub. 24 years old on a 2-fight losing streak. Might as well stick with the Octagon MMA guys. George Pacurariu for the win there. Okay, to recap the main card, I have Marcus Galvao beating Joe Warren, Francis Carmont over Guilherme Viana, Dakota Cochrane beating Ryan Couture, and Alcy Davis over Hideo Tokoro. On the prelims, I have Orlando Couture over Jeremiah Neal, Sean Holden beating Tim Roman, Neal Ewing beating Logan Neal, Emmanuel Sanchez beating Alejandro Villalobos, Brad Mitchell over Stephen Banaszak, Klayton Mai beating Xavier Siller, and George Pacurariu over JP Cole. So that's it for my predictions for Bellator 134, Warren versus Galvao 2. If you have any comments, just leave them below. And that's it for MMA for you. Thank you guys very much.